Jeff, you may be the perfect person to answer this question. Is Mike Pence right that that's a minority view, that Trump is sort of leading this sort of limited faction of the Republican Party right now?
With all due respect, Mike Pence is not correct when he makes that statement. Donald Trump completely controls the entire GOP, and the only example I can give that equates to it is like a rogue cult leader coming into a church and taking it over. He's brainwashed him, and you don't have to look any further than the zombie-esque reaction to even the last few weeks. I mean, Doge has imploded. He's made promises, yet the base doesn't hold him accountable for it. We've spent trillions of dollars in debt that he promised that we wouldn't. We still have wars in Ukraine raging, and he's taken the sides of Vladimir Putin until the last few hours. This is not the Republican Party that I grew up in. And I don't think it's ever coming back. I think it's gone. I think it's gone for good. They're in the ditch, and they just don't know it yet.
How are we in the ditch? We won the national popular vote last November. We won a crushing victory in the Electoral College. We won majorities in the House and the Senate. We just passed the big, beautiful bill. Peace is breaking out in the Middle East. Peace is breaking out on the African continent. Gas prices are lower than they've been in 4 years. Taxes are going to be low. Egg prices are down 69%. The southern border is secure. Jeff, these are things Republicans have believed in for a very long time.
But Scott, I mean, we can't forget that it wasn't that long ago when you were probably closer to the Mike Pence view of this, that you were not necessarily a Trump supporter until fairly recently.
I voted for him 3 times.
Making news here at this table, because what I'm pointing to is that your evolution is mirroring something that's happened in the Republican Party in general. January 2024, 40% of GOP leading voters ID'd as MAGA supporters. March 2025, that number is now 71%. So I'm actually not so sure that anything about Trump has changed in the interim. It's really more that people like you have gone from being more aligned with a Mike Pence to being more aligned with Donald Trump. Explain that to us.
It's a good and valid question, but I don't see much disalignment. They have a personality conflict. Pence and Trump obviously had a falling out over a very serious issue, but on conservative orthodox policy stuff, the only real area where Trump has truly changed the party is on tariffs and trade. He believes in tariffs a lot more than any other president has since the early 1900s. And so that is a major difference in the platform. I acknowledge that. But on taxes, on the border, on pro-life, on having a strong military, and even now getting NATO strengthened with the 5%, helping Israel defeat Iran, he's not an isolationist. He is on many ways the same as every other Republican president of my lifetime and of your lifetime. There are some differences, but it's not as vast, I think, as you want it to be.
Donald Trump does not remind me of Ronald Reagan. And the Scott Jennings, who was a Republican growing up, working for Mitch McConnell, George Bush, and others, very respectable Republicans, would probably not even shake hands with the Scott Jennings that's sitting here today.
Well, I shook hands with Mitch McConnell this week, so B, Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump worked together to change the Supreme Court and give us a 6-3 majority to pass the tax cuts in 2017. Again, personal differences are different than policy alignment. Do you think Donald Trump showed respect
to your former boss, Mitch McConnell? Do you
think
he's
shown
respected
respect to him?
Yeah.
Not always, no.
If we asked you to find one day since his inauguration that he has not lied to you and your family, do you think you could do it? One day he's spoken publicly? Because he can't stop lying, Scott. And I do think the party's changed quite a bit. The Republican Party I grew up with would not delight in beating cops for a lie and then pardoning the people who beat the cops. I don't know what conservatism means anymore. This gentleman is the perfect person to speak to what Mike Pence is going through, because what does it mean? It doesn't mean family values, doesn't mean the Christian values, fiscal responsibility.
Again, we don't live in a theocracy. We live in a nation of laws. And we live in a nation of policy choices. Our policy choices today are basically the same as Republican policy choices, with the exception of tariffs, which I acknowledge. But this president, has done a lot of conservative stuff that people have always wanted.
You've said two things a few times on the show. One about not living in a theocracy, which you're right. But it is also true, and I think this is John's point, that for many, many decades, the Republican Party, and even under Trump, says explicitly, we are a Judeo-Christian society. He claims to his supporters that his faith is important, that it's the most important thing in American society. He says that. That the Bible should be taught in schools, that he is selling a Bible with his name on it. So there's that. But then secondly, the party of George W. Bush, of compassionate conservatism, of immigration reform, that party is also gone too.
Well,
right?
That party understood soft power in USAID.
USAID, PEPFAR, that party is also gone, is it not?
I come at this from a completely different position. I actually see a more welcoming Republican Party as somebody who comes traditionally from the left. And I say this with regard to 4 things that I outlined personally. So I perceive the Republican Party as being interventionist with foreign policy and now being more America first, although I did support what we did in Iran. But we're not engaged in a forever war as far as I can tell. And we were with Cheney and Bush. We have been previously. His position on abortion, while I am more to the left on this, it used to be fully pro-life. He's suggesting it goes to the states, and I believe he said he would never support a federal abortion ban. He said he wouldn't block gay marriage, which is something that I thought was always traditionally a conservative position. And the tariffs thing, as you mentioned, as far as I can remember, conservatives were globalists. They were for free trade, and it arguably hollowed out the middle class. So I'm with Trump on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that this divide right here, I mean, you're demonstrating a lot of reasons why Trump was able to actually make inroads in Democratic constituencies, but you're suggesting that he's the same old Republican as everybody else. But I think that Jillian is perhaps proof that that's not the case.
His attitude and his ability to get things done, his spirit, the way he fights the left, the way he fights for free speech in Western civilization, and the way he's open to coalition building and building non-traditional alliances is a key political talent.
I think that explains your support for Trump, but I think that that Jillian is correct that on those policy issues, Trump has tried to be somewhere in, dare I say, a bit of the mushy middle on some of this stuff. He ran as an anti-war candidate. What he ran on versus how he actually governs, it shifts. But what he ran on, what he pulled people in on, I think is the difference here.
But I think we also can't ignore not only Jeff and the divides here at the table, but the millions of people, thousands of people who consider themselves anti-Trump, who were once Republicans, and a whole movement of Republicans who, I can remember sitting at a meeting leading up to this election. I've got Bill Kristol sitting here. I've got, former friends, conservatives from across the aisle. We were all aligned in how do we defeat Trump. It was a meeting.
How'd it work out?
You know what, Scott?
Just asking.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what. He's underwater on every single issue. Hold on. Why don't you let me finish?
Guys, we got to go.
My only point is, I think you can't ignore the fact that there are thousands of people who consider themselves traditional Republicans, like Jeff, who no longer see a home in the Republican Party.